All right, let's see what card we have today. Oh, card 50. This is a shorter one. Hi, I'm John Paul. You're listening to Life's Potluck Buffet. Okay, so card 50. Consider one strength you have. What is your signature strength in any circumstance you find yourself? All right, now apply that strength to every problem you encounter. Give yourself a secret title that reflects that strength and say it out loud. What did you come up with? What popped to the top of your head? What popped to the top of my head was obviator. I do these cards a lot, and it's interesting. For some cards, I say something different every time. And for other cards, I say the same thing frequently. And I find that when I say something over and over again, it means I'm working on something and that has not been resolved. For example, you'll remember about 23 episodes ago, I was talking about being a skydiver. I was talking about skydiving. And as you know, I'm not going anywhere near skydiving. But that meant something for kinds of entrepreneurial risks that I need to take and things that I'm thinking about going forward. And I don't think I've found those yet. And I think that's why every time I do that card, and honestly, for a card that we'll have, I'm sure soon one day, about the historical marker, which is a really, really great writing exercise, and I'm really looking forward to talking with you about it. Something similar has been happening with that card for me. And so I think that is definitely on the top of my mind. In terms of the consider one strength you have, this one changes almost every time I do it. Actually, every time I do it. And I love that because I'm glad I'm going from strength to strength because I think that is helping me think about various aspects of how I do my work. I feel like this is a different approach to the whole strength question because, as usual with the cards, it's kind of getting around the issue by coming up with a kind of fun way of opening the topic up, giving yourself a secret title, like I said, obviator, and I'll come back to that to discuss what that means. That's a real strength of the cards, is that they obliquely approach your work life. They approach your work life at an angle because sometimes when you approach it head on, you don't learn anything new because the old stereotypes that you have of yourself, the old ways of thinking that you repeat over and over again, those tend to come out when you try to tackle head on all of the issues that these cards tackle in your work life. So a strength of the Life's Potluck Buffet cards is their ability to go obliquely. And maybe this is the obviator thing. Maybe I'm talking about myself as well. That story I just told was also about me. What do I mean when I'm talking about obviator? It feels like what I mean is not the actual meaning of the word obviate. But I think the idea here is that it's kind of like Columbo. You know that show? It's an old show. It's a U.S. show. And Columbo is played by Peter Falk. And he's a detective. And his famous thing is that when you think that he's done talking to somebody who might be usually it's the person who's the prime suspect and perhaps the perpetrator of the particular crime that he's investigating. When they think that they're off the hook and he's done talking to them, he'll walk away as if he's leaving and then turn around and say, just one more thing. I'll see if I could find a YouTube video and I'll put a link to it at the end when this video is over, so it goes right to that video. So just when the person thinks that they're going to get away with this, that this detective who appears to be a bumbling detective, not quite sure what's going on, he turns around and says, oh, just one more question. Just one more thing. For me, that is a strength that I feel like I have, insofar as I'm always looking for that one more deeper meaning in what a person is saying in a situation that's presenting itself, one more layer of deeper meaning, and bringing that to light. That's really what the obviator does. And so I think that's what I'm talking about when I say obviator. What did you say about yourself? I find it's really helpful if you can also just think of a, I know this is a different card, but think of a kind of logo, not like that you might have on your superhero costume, right? Where, that Superman S thing, right? Think of a logo that you might have. For me, imagined visual clues like that also start to help me understand what I'm talking about. So if something like that pops into your head, go with it and try to explain what the logo means. And as you do that, you'll figure out what you're saying. And see, that's that obliqueness again. That's going in at it from a side angle. I didn't say straight out, okay, what are your strengths? When we ask questions like that, and I talked about this the other day, about when you're finding people's motivations and how to find people's motivations when you're talking with them about work. And going straight in there and saying, so what are your motivations? We know that shuts you down. That shuts people down at best. At worst, you just get what people think you want to hear. And that's not what you want to hear. But we're very social creatures. I mean, we're at heart, we are social creatures. And so we tend to want to say things that connect us to other people. So who can blame a person for saying what they think you want to hear? So that's what I'm going to focus on today. I'm going to focus on being the obviator, getting to things in a way that is indirect, getting to things in a way that clears hindrances. And that's another thing. The obviator to me also has to do with clearing hindrances and going out of your way to do so. And that's what going in obliquely really does, is it clears the hindrances. Not to talk about Columbo too much, but this is really what he's doing in that show. This is what they've written that character to do, is he's distracting a person from his intent to show them as the guilty party by putting on this act. And then just when your guard is down, just when you think, oh, there's no more questions that I'm going to get from this detective, that's when he asks you an important question because he knows your guard is down. And you can't help but tell the truth. So today, my superhero will be the obviator, who looks out for when people have their guards down and reveal their truths to us. What hero did you choose to be today? And what does that say about your truths and your strengths? If you enjoyed this episode, please give it a like, subscribe, and head to lifespotluck.com to find out more about Life's Potluck Buffet cards. Have a great day, and we'll see you next time. Oh, and just one more thing.